in the NBA world. And Michael Wilbon is here to talk about the Los Angeles Lakers. And Michael, we go all the way back to when they first went to LA. They brought Elgin Baylor with them. He was the first pick of the draft in '58. Jerry West was the second overall pick in 1960. They have a great run in the '60s, win just once. And we've seen it from Kareem to Magic to Wilt. They do the Shaq and Kobe. And here they are again, another act. What do you make of LeBron coming to LA?
I mean, this is what they do. I mean, and all those people you named, John, interestingly enough, the only one who didn't win a title, and that's only because he got hurt in one of the great regular seasons of all time at the beginning of it, was Elgin Baylor. Everybody else won a championship, and people, I'm interested now to hear people say, oh, you know, I know LeBron's moving into another phase of his life. I get that. I get that this is not only about basketball. Why would it be when anyone moves in any industry? But LeBron is such a historian. He's so aware of what has happened. And I'm not just talking about with franchises, the two he's played for. He's already aware of what has happened in Los Angeles and how winning is so important to them. It's the only thing. And what's going to be expected following those guys, many of whom have statues already out in front of Staples Center. If he wasn't aware, and he is, he would be very quickly. So I just think that this energizes the league, the industry, the sport globally. When people, I got a couple of texts from people, basketball fanatic friends of mine in Europe. I'm like, goodness. So this is enormous news, and this is what the Lakers do.
Yeah, you can see a Laker-Warrior game on TV. You can see a Celtics at L.A. Christmas Day game, likely on ABC as well. Kareem's first year in L.A., Michael, they didn't make the playoffs. So here comes LeBron. You know, it's a new culture for him. Abdul-Jabbar came from Milwaukee. He comes from Cleveland via Miami. What are the expectations, Jeremiah? What will it feel like, you think, for LeBron in this atmosphere?
Well, he is so accustomed to being, I don't know, the player under the most scrutiny, if not pressure. Certainly the player under the most scrutiny his entire career since he stepped into the league. And of course they're going to make the playoffs. The question for me is, it seems like people are underestimating what LeBron can do with guys he joins. We don't know what the Laker roster is going to be for certain yet. It's not in cement. But we just saw the team he took to the finals, granted, in the East in Cleveland. The Lakers are already better. If he only joined the guys that he's got now, to me, they're better than Cleveland was last year. Does that get him past Golden State or Houston? No. But I mean, third, fourth seed, the top half of it, home court advantage in the first round? Yeah. I think that's entirely possible, and certainly from that fan base, John, you know it, will be expected.
The most interesting analyst in the world talking about the most interesting franchise in the world. That is Michael Wilbon. And as if the West needed any star power with LeBron joining the Lakers, that means that all 7 active players who have won an MVP award now reside in the Western Conference. Wow. It also means the West is home to 11 of the 12 players named to the All-NBA first team over the last 5 years. The lone exception, surprisingly, Joakim Noah.
World, hashtag the king is here. Kyle Kuzma, Lake Show, King James, let's go, my brother, let's rock. And then Josh Hart, the show, as in Showtime, is back. Question is, will all 3 of those guys be on the roster when LeBron plays his first game? Things to consider. Well, one guy we do know will be on the roster is a big surprise here to a lot of NBA fans. Lance Stevenson, agreeing to a 1-year, $4.5 million deal to join the Lakers. Of course, through the years, Lance and LeBron have been adversarial, to say the least, on the court. But after coming up with LeBron and the purple and gold, Lance's like, yeah, I can get down with that. A little time in the 3-1-0 on the West Side. I mentioned the past histrionics, if you will use that word, between these two dudes. Pacers, Heat in the playoffs. Lance was just trying to be a pest to LeBron, doing the best. And that was like something from the World Cup, passed out soccer. And that was like, oh, in the face of Eric Spoelstra trying to be in the huddle. Really, Lance? And then popping LeBron in the face, and LeBron showed a lot of restraint by not responding. And then the all-time favorite. It's the best gift and meme there is in internet history.
It keeps on giving.
It never stops. It's there. Hey, let's fast forward, though. 2018 Eastern Conference playoffs. LeBron going hard and Lance going hard across the head, and then here taking the ball from LeBron like he won a tug of war with his brother. Little bump here. And guess what? Now they're teammates. It's all great, right?
So So Lance in his basketball pants coming to L.A. Here's Bobby Marks. And show us how this all fits. And the big question I want to know is, can we add DeMarcus Cousins? Can we even add Kawhi Leonard if we want?
Well, the first thing is that we're going to leave Luol Deng's money on the books right now. He's owed $36 million. We are not stretching his money over 5 years. We're going to keep that cap hit there. And you've got $47.6 million. When they signed LeBron James,
at the max deal.
At the max
no
deal.
Discount.
No discount. $35.6 million. That gets you to $12.8.
Okay.
Contavious Caldwell-Pope, shooting guard. When we add DCP's number in at $12 million, that goes in there. Now you've got a teeny bit of room. You can sign maybe one of your second-round picks. They agreed to a deal with Lance Stevenson for the room mid-level exception.
Okay.
You can exceed the cap to sign Lance to that number.
So he slots in there.
He slots in there.
Doesn't affect your cap.
Nope. When we slide Lance over there, that gets you over, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's the exception that allows you to do that. The last move for the Lakers, JaVale McGee, to the minimum exception. When you sign minimum guys, you can exceed the cap. You can sign as many as you want, as long as it fits under your roster. $1.5 million.
Okay.
We slide JaVale over. And that is your Laker team right now.
So we can't add Kawhi Leonard unless we trade a lot of young guys with pieces to make the math work. Same with DeMarcus Cousins.
It's going to be really hard. Originally, Leonard would have come in with cap space. Now, the only tradable contracts would be Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram. Maybe you can try to do a sign-and trade for Julius Randle. That will be hard to do. You only have about $18 million of controllable contracts that you can move in a deal. Leonard makes 20. The number has to be right around 17. So you basically have to clear the deck.
So in your mind, you don't think Leonard will be a Laker next season?
I have it hard-pressed that he would be a Laker next season. In the offseason, possibly, because they will have a max salary slot. But right now, in free agency, I don't see a Leonard deal happening. And that includes DeMarcus Cousins. Where they are right now, where Cousins' number is, maybe between $20 and $25 million, it will take basically to renounce Randle and stretch that Deng money, and that gets you to about $18, $19 million, and I don't see DeMarcus Cousins coming on that.
Perhaps this is a 2-year plan then with LeBron. Be patient. Next year we'll make our move. Thank you, Bobby. And LeBron told the Lakers that, our Ramona Schoenborn tells us, don't do anything drastic. I'm here for the long haul. Keep that in mind. Regardless of what the Lakers team looks like, history tells us LeBron himself is good for at least 10 extra wins. His rookie season, Cavs won 18 more games than it did the previous season. After he joined the Heat, 11 more games. Return to Cleveland, 20-win improvement. Remember, the Lakers went 35-47. Something he delivered as he led our team to 4 straight NBA Finals appearances. We look forward to the retirement of the famous number 3 Cavs jersey one day down the line. It was around Christmas time. We're in the cafeteria, and I asked you, so where's LeBron going to go? And you said, probably the Lakers. So we all kind of knew this was going to kind of happen. Oh, you did, not me. Give us the headlines. When we look back 3 to 5 years from now, what will this night, be in your terms, in terms of the headline?
This is a seismic move for LeBron James, for the Lakers, for the NBA to have the athlete of this generation and maybe ever in this sport to go to the franchise in L.A. And people in Boston will argue that, but there's something about L.A. and the West Coast and the Showtime Lakers and Hollywood for LeBron James. This is such a bigger play than just trying to win a championship with the Lakers. This is planting his flag in Hollywood, the entertainment industry, and having Magic Johnson not just running basketball operations in L.A., but him as a mentor, as a guide for all the things LeBron James wants to do in business for the rest of his career and then beyond his basketball career. In every way, it makes sense.
Yeah, his global brand is really unlike anything. We know Michael had a big brand, but LeBron's all in on the entertainment aspect you talked about. L.A. makes perfect sense. But it's just a 2-year plan in terms of really competing, because it doesn't look like, well, Bobby Marks in our next segment, our front office insider, it doesn't look like there's a lot of room to do anything this year in terms of adding Kawhi or DeMarcus Cousins or anybody now.
Yeah, and they brought in some interesting guys here to support him, like some guys who've been part of winning, but Lance Stevenson, JaVale McGee, there's Contavious Caldwell-Pope comes in, so returns with L.A. And those are one-year, short-term guys.
Right.
They're going to try to figure out now how to get Kawhi Leonard, whether they do that in a trade, which became much harder with that Caldwell Pope commitment today, or free agency next year when Leonard will be a free agent in 2019. He opts out. He wants out of San Antonio. They have talked about some deal points with the Spurs. The Spurs and Lakers have talked. But if Leonard gets traded somewhere else, do the Lakers, the fear is they end up right back where they were with Paul George,
right,
where it went so well for him somewhere else he stayed. What if he gets traded to Boston or Philly, likes it, decides to stay, and they never get access to Kawhi Leonard? But right now, Kawhi Leonard feels like Paul George did last year. I want to be a Laker. I'll get there in free agency. We'll see if there's not a trade, if indeed Kawhi Leonard does that. But a Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, those two, like, you'll go play any other team's two guys with those two players.
No doubt about it. You're right. A seismic shift, as Woj mentioned. LeBron is a Laker.
Well, despite LeBron moving into their division, the Warriors remain the odds-on favorite to win the NBA title next season, as they should. But the Lakers are now tied with the Celtics for the second-best odds at 7-2. And not surprisingly, look what happened to the Cavs. They're now at 500-1 to win it all. All right, to get a little more perspective on this, we bring in First Take Stephen A. Smith. You know, Stephen, let's go back a couple years when LeBron went to Miami. It shook up the entire league. It surprised some when he went back to Cleveland. This move to L.A., a lot of people expected for quite some time. But having said that, what does this move say about the current state of the NBA?
Well, it just said, you know, people can look at it and they could lament the lack of parity because all the best players seem to be in the Western Conference. There's no doubt about that. It's one of those things that will prompt discussion as to whether or not the commissioner needs to revisit seedings in the playoffs instead of having 8 teams in the East, 8 teams in the West. Just do 1-16 and get it over with so we can have some semblance of competition. But I really don't care about that right now. I'm from the streets of New York City, the big city, the bright lights and what have you. LA is obviously the second largest market in the country. Chicago being third, and between those 3 cities, there are 5 NBA teams, and not a single one of them made the playoffs this past season. That's simply not good as far as I'm concerned. That doesn't mean that the NBA can't thrive without those guys in the postseason. Clearly, Golden State being in the mix, Houston being in the mix is incredibly relevant, but the Lakers being relevant again, having missed the playoffs for the last 5 years, it does just make your hair stand up on your skin. It gets you hyped and excited about the possibilities, recognizing Laker Nation, the tradition that the Lakers franchise has, and the fact that you can get a guy the magnitude of LeBron James to the second largest city in the United States, to Hollywood, Tinseltown, Venice Beach, Melrose, LA Live. The list goes on and on. To get a player of this magnitude, knowing that outside of Elgin Baylor, every single mega star that has ever played for the Los Angeles Lakers has captured a championship while wearing the purple and gold. It almost gives you goosebumps. It gets you going.
All right, so it pumps new blood into L.A., that's for sure. What does it do for the city of Cleveland as well as that Cavs franchise?
Well, it returns them to the dormant state of affairs that once existed before LeBron James arrived. There's no doubt about that, but in the same breath, it's going to be devoid of the level of vitriol they had when he first departed to take his talents to South Beach back in 2010. This time around, he came back to Cleveland to fulfill a promise that he had made to the franchise, to the city, to the Northern Ohio area that had been devoid of a championship in any sport for over a half century. And 2 years in, he delivered on that promise. 4 straight years, he took them to an NBA Finals. He owes them absolutely nothing. Everybody with sense there knows he owes them absolutely nothing. Plus, he fulfilled his promise. So when you take all of those things into consideration, it's a reason to lament things, but not have the vitriol and venom that you once had.
Yeah, he gave them something they never had before, and I have a feeling he will always be that area's favorite son. Stephen A. Smith, appreciate the time.
Kobe Bryant tweet, welcome to the family, King James. Hashtag Lakers for life. Hashtag strive for greatness. Jimmy Bush, Magic Johnson also tag, and RP, Rob Pelinka.